Six Borough Podcast brought to you by Municipal Land Survey, 631-345-2658. If you're planting gardens, you got giraffes, monkeys, tornadoes, twisters, fruits and vegetables, whatever it is, and you want to make sure it's on your land and your neighbor's land's not encroaching on it, call them. We're also brought to you by AS Engineering Services, 631-560-0259, or on the internet, www.asengineeringservices.com, to handle all your residential and commercial engineering needs. They're servicing all of New York. We're also brought to you by Made to Thrive, an American t-shirt company powered by America, even on the fucking internet. www.madetothrive.us and on Instagram at madetothrive.us. Today's guest is a special one. We did our first remote podcast, if you will, or on-location podcast at the Toast Coffee House in Patchogue. If you're not familiar with the Toast Coffee House, you're about to learn. Most people listening, I'm going to assume, know about Toast. They've been around for a number of years with their first store in Port Jeff. Probably the best breakfast in town in Suffolk County, at least in my opinion. Not only that, the owner, Terry, is a very interesting guy. His whole story on how he got into the restaurant business is very, very interesting. He's got a great outlook, a great philosophy on not just business but life also. He was gracious enough to welcome us in to the restaurant after hours, which is like sitting in a museum slash like art show. It's the best way to describe it. I mean, the place is super interesting, and I've eaten there a bunch because I'm a fan first, and eating in there, the ambiance is great, but being in there after hours and getting to take everything in without any distractions was a real cool experience. And we get into that. We get to talk about the architecture and the layout and the vision behind the whole ambiance of the restaurant itself. So that in itself is worth a listen, but obviously the whole idea behind the food and how it's all organic and locally sourced to make it that much more delicious. Everything about this podcast I loved. Terry's a great guy, so give it a listen and give us some feedback, guys. You can give us feedback on our Instagram page at Sixth Borough Podcast or on our Facebook page, Sixth Borough Podcast. Leave us some comments, send us some messages. Leave us some comments on our Instagram page. We'd love to hear everybody's feedback, not just on this episode, but everyone. We're trying to make sure that we tailor this the right way. We enjoy our formula, but we'd like to hear some feedback from the people that are listening, and because we're always listening back from you guys. So without further ado, welcome Terry from the Toast Coffee House.
All right, guys, we're live. Let's get into it.
All right, Six Borough Podcast, D-Rock,
Yarbs, Ericott,
and our guest today,
Terry Scarlatus from Toast Coffee House. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Really appreciate you coming and sitting down with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you guys.
Right on. Yeah,
it's going to be awesome. Our first remote podcast.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's funny, actually. It's become a theme. Even before we had nailed this down with you, we've released 10 episodes so far, and we've been invited by a bunch of our guests to come do episodes at their places. And it's been becoming a theme, but you're the first one we're actually doing.
Awesome.
So
Nice.
You're groundbreaking.
That's great. Yeah,
So-
glad to be a part of it. So,
Yeah, we're going to try and take the show on the road a couple times. So obviously, Toast.
Yeah, this is our fourth month being open in Patchogue. Had the original Toast going on its 14th year in Port Jeff. Started out with this little small bagel store that we converted.
Is that why it's got the
split.
split in the bar there?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. You know, I always thought that. I'm like, it kind of looks like there's bagels in there. That's all right. That's awesome.
So we put this. It was a really big idea, and at the time I was like 28 years old and just starting out and didn't have a lot of money. I maxed out the credit cards and just kind of used the space as best I could. And over time, it would end up becoming a really popular place. So we we just sort of morphed into around corners and moved bagel ovens over and slid across, and eventually took over the florist next door and took the wall down and expanded even further. So it was always like a really big idea in a small place, and I don't think I really tried to or looked to open another one until I thought I couldn't make that one any better, and I still don't. I still improve on it constantly, but it's this opportunity came, and I couldn't resist. I loved what Patchogue was becoming, and decided it'd be nice to be able to build out my own space. So this is it.
And it seems to completely fit where Patchogue is going. It works perfectly.
Yeah. Now, is this almost, for lack of a better word, like the grand design? Is this what you had in your mind from the beginning, and you just couldn't maximize the space there? Is this like the culmination of it?
It's funny because I really wanted to use. I would say yes and no. Part of it was Patchogue inspired because I grew up in Ronkonkoma, and I remember the old Patchogue with the old lace mill and the different things in here, and the building, it just had so much character, and it felt like it had been here. It was like one of the oldest towns on Long Island. I remember like looking into it while I was doing some research and found a picture of JFK, campaigning for his, presidency through the village. So it really was a booming town. Yeah, it was a wild picture. Oh, but I remember, and I just thought like this was the hub. This is one of the hubs. There's a couple of spots on Long Island that really built up quick. So my inspiration for this was to make it feel like it had been here for 130 years. When we opened up the ceiling, I wanted to leave the ceiling exposed, and we painted the ductwork to look, bronze and metal and industrial. And
we always comment on the ductwork.
Yeah,
how we really like that it's not just painted flat black like most places would,
right?
Or left with the silver color. Like, oh, they really took a lot of time
to. We have a train whistle in there, and there's there's a lot of. Some of them are fake. Actually, don't know anything. But my air conditioner guy had so much fun. He's been in business since 30, 40 years, and never had a client like me just say, "Listen, I love this stuff. Like, put it everywhere." So he had this was his favorite project, and my artist friends came in and spray painted it to make it look like it had been here for forever, and that was sort of where it started. And then I picked a time frame and wanted to do. Turn of the century, and went with the steampunk feel, and got some of these pipe lamps, which I found out there's a whole subculture around the country of people making these. Like one was from Oregon and one was from Pennsylvania, and I was amazed that I was just discovering stuff as I was going along. So it wasn't really like this is the idea. It was kind of like
an evolutionary
evolution. Yeah, let me just build on this because this is fun, and it was, and so that's some great help from my contractor. Complete Interiors did a lot of this stuff. These came from an Italian restaurant in Massapequa, and they just fit the space perfectly. So, just odds and ends, and pieced it together,
and it came together perfectly.
Yeah,
it's awesome, and it's funny you mentioned the steampunk subculture. Yeah. I had never even heard of steampunk ever in my life until I met Eric here. Really? Because you're a big Halloween guy.
I enjoy Halloween.
Oh, yes.
And I remember this was years ago, we were talking about what our plans were for Halloween. He's like, oh, we're doing a whole big steampunk thing. I'm like, what the hell are you what? Huh? I had no idea what it was.
My wife, my brother, and his fiance, we're all very big into Halloween, so we usually do like some type of matching costumes theme.
Yeah.
And awesome. I was steampunk Abraham Lincoln one year. Nice. And I couldn't grow any facial hair. At the time, I grew it out for like 4 or 5 months. It was all patchy. Yeah. I got the Just for Men and tried to like fill in and draw some lines to make it
call his artist friends.
but it worked, and it was a fun evening.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had no idea what it was when he told me. He's like, "Oh, steampunk Abraham Lincoln." I'm like, "Huh? What?" I had no idea. And it's funny because when my first trip here was with Eric actually, and he was like, "Oh my god, steampunk!"
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, here we go."
This again. Now he's got the beard, so we can pull it off.
The beard I might bring it back. I might bring it back. I might put on the Abraham Lincoln hat. I got it in the cellar.
Yeah, but so that the gears and then in that whole genre of the steampunk genre, because it was really the past picture of what the future would be like. So so they were inventing all these crazy things, and they were using steam and gas, and making. I remember looking up some pictures of bicycle shoes. Somebody had bicycle wheels on their shoes, and maybe that's the new next thing. So it really was a creative time, and that's what I wanted this place to be, is more of an inspiration to people when they came. Not necessarily that the food, but just this is the place you come to be inspired.
Yeah.
If you're a writer, then write. If you're an artist, then come here and drink coffee and
Get creative.
Yeah.
So that was my goal.
I think he nailed it, honestly, because, and it's funny, and I love you for this, when I saw it, when I saw the Tesla blueprints, I was like, oh my God, I'm home. Like, I have Tesla tattooed on my forearm, and I'm a huge, that's my man. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, this guy, he's hitting home runs right now. You're knocking it out of the park, because I'd already liked coming here, and I had walked past them a few times. I'd never actually noticed them until I'd been here a few times, and I saw it. And Eric's also a Tesla guy. I texted you the blueprint of it right away.
Yeah, he sent me a picture.
And that was like, oh man, I could sit here all day now.
Yeah.
And we were sitting right over there in that seat, and it was me, my buddy Tommy, and my friend Tony, and we ended up just sitting here probably for an extra 40 minutes, like you said, just drinking coffee, talking about Tesla, and then we got onto, we started getting into, we went down the rabbit hole for a while.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
that's what it's for, man.
You did it.
That's awesome.
That was it right there. So it's funny that you say it, because that's exactly what happened to
And
us.
that makes me so happy to hear, because it really is what I wanted. I want people to be inspired, and and Tesla was the founder, this great inventor that didn't get any recognition, but look at what he created.
The whole modern world. I mean,
Yes.
that guy's responsible for just about all of it.
Control.
That's a whole podcast in itself. If you guys don't know Tesla, hit Google, man. Hit Google. If you got Netflix, there's a great documentary called Man at a Time that is based on Tesla. It's worth checking out if anyone's listening and wants to check it out.
Nice. Awesome. So in the light of Tesla, we also have a time machine here, which was designed by Ben Owens, which was a half barber chair, and it was a hairdryer from the 50s that we converted. Most of the pieces in there, they're all handmade, but there's the Legend of Zelda hard drive, and buried within it is there's a lava lamp, and lots of really cool gears and telescope parts. So initially we were hoping that people would come in and sit in it and take pictures and just have fun in there. And then I realized that it was getting destroyed really quick. So
Sure.
we had a little sign up.
Please don't sit here.
The artist came in to visit after about 2 weeks and almost cried. He's like, "What's this all mess?" I said, "It looks great. I don't even know what you're talking about." He's like, "This doesn't go here and this isn't there and it's missing pieces." But so we have a little "Please ask to be seated" sign. But of course, people can come in and take photos. I really wanted photos of grandma and something fun, and
something
interesting.
funny.
Yeah,
I can tell you, Eric right now is like a kid on Christmas hearing that, because he's been talking about it since we come here.
Yeah, I say one of these days when they're not so busy, I'm going to ask if I can sit in the chair to take a picture. But every time I'm here, there's a line, and I'm like, I don't want to bother everyone.
You got it. That's what it's for. So, and we also have some steampunk mouse doors. I don't know if you guys have noticed those.
No.
Yeah, they're hidden around the restaurant for the kids.
Really?
So we did a lot of. There's a lot of like little things in here that I really wanted people to pay attention to. In fact, we were going to do. There's a little trap door up there that we were going to design. We have a whole bunch of new ideas that we're going to explore, and just to make it visually appealing, so that when you come in, it's like you find something new each time. And that was the goal.
I really like that, because you're not really seeing that at any other restaurants or anywhere in general right now at all.
Yeah.
I feel like you said, everything's very like box store, corporate,
cutter.
run of the mill.
Yeah, it's just so. I mean, if we can talk about food for a second, just like breakfast, it's so much you can do there. It's just such a great. And it's so much fun. People love it. And there's so much potential. So that was really where I was inspired with it, because I've loved the food business, and I was a cook for many years, did a lot of traveling, and coffee shops were always my draw. Like, if I can go into a town, I'd sit at a coffee shop, and within an hour or two, I would have met a few people, and I would get a pulse of the area. So that's really where the coffee house, and then I knew I had to do more than just coffee, and then breakfast. And once I started sinking my teeth into breakfast, I realized, wow, this is unlimited. You can really do some great stuff. And and nobody else was really doing it at the time, you know. So
Yeah, it's. I feel like it was diners, and that was pretty much it for
Yes.
breakfast. You could go to a bagel store, you could go to a diner, and
Or a
and
deli.
that's-
or the deli.
Well, the
yes.
deli, yeah, but there was nothing.
Yeah.
No interesting places. It was just the very blah, run of the mill, same thing everywhere you went.
And the diners, you know, Long Island diners were famous because they were, you know, they did a nice job, and it was big and it filling, and they stayed open 24 hours. And you can go
Yeah,
after
get
the bar
breakfast anytime.
anytime. So you know, it was definitely, they had their heyday, but you know, once people started eating a little bit differently, and
Well, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
People start thinking about quality
yes,
as opposed to quantity.
right,
And I think the younger generations are more going along that lines of ways of thinking, as opposed to like some of the older. Oh, they give you a lot of food there. It's a great place. And I'm thinking I'd rather have fresh food.
right, fresh food, and you know,
Yeah.
and that's really what when people ask, like, what makes it so good? How come it tastes so good? And that's, well, it's you know, we buy organic. I don't mention it on the menu, but this is why it tastes better. I know it does. I know this is going to be a better product. So
Everybody knows it does, though. That's
yeah.
the thing. It's
Right.
It's not even something you have. You don't need to advertise it because you know it when you taste it.
When you
Yeah,
taste
when you
it,
eat it.
That's
yes,
That's why there's always people here.
right.
yeah.
Always a line here.
But it's a very engaging atmosphere, obviously, which obviously now you put a lot of thought behind it. When
Yeah.
you have an engaging atmosphere with the quality of food like that, I mean, it's hard not to have that kind of a draw. And breakfast also, I feel like I'm not the best cook. I'm learning. Chris is a really good cook.
I'm trying to help him.
I feel like breakfast allows a little bit more creativity too, because you could do breakfast is one of those things the diners are doing breakfast 24 hours a day,
Yeah.
but you can mix and match so many different things. It allows you to kind of be creative with it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, and that was the other thing, is everybody, when I was coming here, said, I don't understand how you're not going to be open for dinner. You know, I'd have customers come in at 3 and say, what do you mean you closed? That makes no sense. How are you surviving, you know? But I felt if you focused on it and you did it really well, like, they'll come and you won't have, you know, wouldn't have to necessarily,
You won't have to change your
You won't have
model
to change the model.
to fit
Right.
them.
yeah, so it makes it a little bit more special. And, you know, we do breakfast till 3, so if you're a late riser, you could still make it. But that creativity and the food, you know, when it's done right, it's just a whole different level, you know. And I've always felt that, even like my cooks, you know, we get chefs and we get people that are foodies that love food, because it's just not that short order, quick,
It's
greasy.
authentic.
Yeah, it's authentic.
It's authentic. And you can tell that too. Like, that's one of my bigger things about authenticity, and you can tell when people are authentic, and you can tell when a place is authentic, and you're not going to get that authenticity at an Applebee's
Right.
or any of these chains. When you come here, it's
Yeah.
authentic, and you can tell right away. You can't fake that.
No,
You know, so
Thank you for saying that.
Oh,
You
it's
know,
the
that's
truth.
yeah, and that's what it was all for me, and that's what I get inspired to do, because the day in and day out, it's just like, you know, but look at the smiles and look at these people discovering it for the first time. You know, it feels good, and they get it, and I love that. So it's an
Yeah.
awesome thing.
But on top of that too, not just that, I think you've staffed the place with authentic people as well.
Yeah,
And I know a lot of the wait staff, like Ricky and Dan. I went to high school with them. I've known those guys forever. They're some of the nicest guys I've ever met, you know. And Andre, obviously.
yeah,
I've known Andre for a long time.
great
He's
guy.
the guy, he's like built for this place. I've had people come up to me and tell me, like, oh, I see Andre. And they're like, it's the perfect place for him. Because he's like got the smile, he's got the
Yes.
energy, and he fits with the authenticity of the place. So I
Right.
think you kind of,
Yeah, and I really want them to be themselves too. That's something, you know, about the place, and hiring, and finding, you know, people that have character and have, you know, the that thing. You know, I don't know how to describe it, but I just know it. You know, when you sit down and you talk to somebody, you're like, this. And like I said, when we talked about Andre before, I feel like I've known him for 20 years too,
Yeah.
and I just met him, you know, when he came to work for me. But what, you know. And then giving him the freedom to be himself is also a whole nother thing. And watching that is, you know, exciting. Him running around the dining room and just beaming because, you know,
He's got some energy.
he's got a
Yeah.
ton of energy, and I've never seen him, you know, I've never seen him slow down. But it's just, and it's great. And even like Ricky's actually my cousin, which I don't know if you knew.
I only found that out recently,
Yeah.
actually, yeah.
So and Dan and haven't known them that long, but Ricky I've known obviously a long time, but he's somebody that I feel like I would have met on the road, when traveling. Just somebody that plays guitar, and he's just a free spirit. And I have to be honest, people get down on Long Island because there isn't that sense of adventure, or feels like it's too corporatized, and things are very expensive. And creating this place, and I called him. He was in California, and I said, I need your help. And I knew he didn't want to necessarily leave there, but he was like, what do you mean? I said, I'm coming to Patchogue, and I would love for you to come down and give me a hand. And just in the beginning, you can go back to California. I'm your cousin. I need your help.
It's family. I'm calling in that favor.
I'm calling in the card. And he came down, and I knew as soon as he stepped foot in here, I'd have him for a little while to help me out. And it just brings that energy, that spirit. And Dan and most of this crew that I hired, I'm real excited about, because they fit in, and they're creating their own place here, and I'm watching that happen too, in their own relationships. And
it's great that you're saying that and allowing people. I hate it when someone hires someone and then tries to change them.
Yes.
If you're going to hire the person that's going to fit your job. Don't hire someone and then try and change them to fit your job.
Right.
You need to hire the right people.
Yeah, that's really it. And it's you give them all guidelines, and this is sort of how we're doing it. And be yourself. This is make this yours too. Because that I always felt like translated from the owner. If the owner was uptight, it went to the employees, and then the employees were uptight with the customers, and you came in, you're feeling like you had a stale experience, or you just didn't really get much out of it. So I'm very proud that sometimes we hang art that's a little offensive, or it's something that you won't see in a commercial corporate chain, because it wouldn't have made it past human resources the board, right?
But if it offends somebody, that means it's doing its job.
It's doing it absolutely, because you noticed it, and you're paying attention, and look around, because the world is amazing. And
I got a question for you about that, because obviously you're a pretty introspective guy. You're creative, and obviously you're paying attention to things. So before the restaurant business, what was your thing? What was your passion that kind of led to this? Because you're not just your run-of-the-mill businessman who's like, I want to start a business to make money.
Yeah,
obviously. So what led you to it? I know it's a heavy question, but
it's a great question, and I think at an early age, I left out of high school. I got a job in Alaska processing salmon for a summer, and I ended up staying. I just met this wild group of people, and we lived in the woods, and I ended up getting a job on a boat, and it was like this whole world just opened up to me. And for my contacts there, I traveled, and I was always like a seeker. I felt like I was missing something. I felt a little bit different than in Long Island. I was like, I was following this path. I think we all feel that pressure, the social pressures of college, and go get a job.
Go get a job.
What are you going to be?
This was our conversation last night.
Oh, what's
last night's podcast? Yeah,
and
exactly that.
No kidding. So so that was that was really what gave what inspired me to kind of seek what else is out there in the world. And then so I did a lot of traveling and read a lot of books, and just started to figure out who I was before I decided what I was going to do. And in between, I'd come back here, and I went to Suffolk Community for I think for 2 years, and I got my associates. Took a break and went to Stony Brook and got close to finishing, but in between then, I went to India, and I got to meet the Dalai Lama, and I went to Machu Picchu and Himalayas. So I really kind of got out there and would do these little trips, and would come back and work in a restaurant. I actually worked at the Courier Cafe in Ronkonkoma, and my boss at the time was Joan Kalin. She was really supportive of it, because I would work for 6 months and just say, I have to go. I'm going to be back. I don't know how long.
Getting that itch again.
Yeah, I got the itch, and I have a friend that I met that I've been writing to, and so, and it definitely put a lot of pressure on my family and my mother, and you know, she was getting calls, you know, I think I'm dying, and the phone would cut out. And what do you mean? And you know, I got
ate some bad food.
Yeah, I ate some bad food in India, and I saw my skeleton. So you know, so I definitely had you know, I was on this path, you know, I'd say a spiritual path, but more of like just trying to figure out who I was.
Self-awareness.
Self-recognition. Yeah, and just getting those little tastes of what that would be like. So and we can definitely have a long conversation about martial arts, because I studied with a group in British Columbia for a year and a half, doing something called Chin Lung, which was means celestial dragon, and it's a kung fu style, but more on the softer styles. And that opened me up to a whole new world of, you know, it was meditation and Tai Chi and Qi Kung and Chin Lung, and you know, so it was like all this really cool stuff that at the time was like, okay, maybe this is the new path, or this is doing it. So, but along that whole entire journey, I always came back to food, and food was always, you know, at first it was just providing, it was my skill set that I knew I can go into any town and I can work in any restaurant, because I know how to cook, and I can cook fast, and I can cook pretty good. You know, I liked it.
That's a skill set that travels well too, right?
Yeah, it travels well. And then at one point it was, I might be switching topics, sorry, but there was at one point that I worked with this old guy in New Mexico, and the way he talked about food was like amazing to me. And I you know, from that moment on, and how he described, no, you can't combine those two things. No. And I was like, what do you mean? Everybody combines these two things. He's like, no, this is why, and use this spice, and put cinnamon in the black beans, and you know, and I was cinnamon in the black beans. Like, this guy's crazy. Like, what are you doing? And but from that point on, you know, something switched in me, and I started, you know, you'll never know everything about food. And I was like, what do you mean I won't know everything about food? Like, he's challenging me, and he just knew how to work me into it. So from then on, I started to fall in love with it, and I was like, wow, I'm getting it. You know, it was like that nirvana where you're like, oh, food. Like,
everything kind of fell into place.
Yeah, it just felt right, and I was like, I can channel all this energy into this whole genre. And not that I know everything about food, but I just love it, and I love how, you know, cooking and changes things, and you know, what you create is you know, you get to taste it and sense it, and it's a whole body experience if it's done right. And there's a few times in my life where I've had food and been like, wow, this is it for me. So yeah, so that was my
food's like a very communal bonding experience kind of thing. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? Like, you sit around, you have a good meal, you have some good conversation, and if it's good food and good atmosphere, it kind of makes it better. So it makes a lot more sense to me now, especially sitting here and taking in what you've done. I can appreciate it more now after hearing it, because it makes a lot more sense to me after hearing that, because it's like, especially the traveling that you did and the journeys you went on.
Yeah.
I can relate to some of that, and not well traveled, which is bad. But like okay. You said with the martial arts, I'm sure Eric, you can agree. Like, you know, and you too with the martial arts, it's a spiritual experience. It's self-discovery, and then through that you kind of, you know, even like the Dalai Lama, things like that. It's like servicing people, and what better way to service people than through food?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's absolutely right, and
it makes a lot of sense to me now.
Yeah, right. now I get it, but yeah, it just there is so much, and the sense of community is really, you know, most important to me in this whole endeavor. You know, it's the food, and yeah, of course you want to make money and you want to be profitable, and but for me it's that special place, you know, that's unique, and you know, you walk into it and it's you know,
it's like a family,
right? It's who's running this thing? who's in charge of this crazy place? But it works, and you know, I also set out to prove to myself, because after doing all the traveling, I was really shocked that I came back to Long Island. You know, it was I swore that I wasn't. You know, I left and I was like, okay, I'll see. You know, I'm going to go live my life, and I hope I end up someplace great. But family and just circumstances, and there was just something. As much as I met people out into the world in different places and different states, like, I just connected with Long Islanders, like, in a different way than I did with everybody else. And I can't explain it. Even now, it's like, you know, I just felt when I would come home to visit, that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Long Island's got a special draw like
Yeah.
that. It's I don't know that it's like anywhere else.
It's really not. Yeah.
I think it's the dynamic of what it encompasses. I mean, you have ocean beaches, and you have vineyards, and you have one of the biggest cities in the world. You have these rural areas, you have the urban areas. It's just it's unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
there's nowhere else like that.
There's
No.
nowhere like Long Island.
No.
It's got a culture, and I think geography almost too, all into itself. Like you said, it's got a little bit of everything, and it's weird in a way because we are in the shadow of the epicenter of the universe,
Right.
New York City, and we are we're detached from it, but it's almost like oh yeah, the city. We're so used to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we are connected, but we're not. I can't articulate it properly.
Yeah.
We're isolated. It's a culture all unto ourselves, and you can't understand it until you.
It's our extended family.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but
Yeah.
we kind of. Long Island's just got its own flavor, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it really does, and it is. For me, it's home, and now where my kids are growing up, and I wouldn't want to grow up anywhere else because there's just you learn street smarts. You learn how to take care of yourself, and you learn about people, and I just feel like everybody's real here. There's just a realness about it.
That's true, especially like you've traveled extensively.
Yeah.
And you find yourself in other parts of the country. I've spent a good amount of time in Southern California and other areas, and everyone's very friendly, but when push comes to shove, I don't even want to say like need a big favor. You need like a small favor. Everyone, they scatter like cockroaches. And I mean, in New York, you might meet someone and know them for a couple hours, but you're like, oh, do you think you could give me a lift down the road to the...
All of a sudden, you're helping them move.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like once you forge that, like, all right, we're the same type of person, we get along. It's like almost whatever you need.
Right. That's
Type of a
absolutely
deal.
right.
It's, I mean, I don't even, it's like it's expected and it's reciprocal.
Right, and you're that, and you have a deep relationship than than other people in other places. I feel like so.
And even on the flip side of that, on Long Island, more so than anywhere else, you know where you stand with people too. If there's somebody that maybe you don't get along with, it's not made a secret. It's like, listen, you just do your thing over there, I'll do my thing over here. We don't need to interact.
Right.
I'll take that over like the smile and the fake handshake.
100%.
Yes. So that's the flip side of the realness as well. It's like, well, I know where I stand, so I'll just let that guy live over there while I live over here, and that's that. And I think that's better.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
Not everybody gets along, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay, and it's fine, and we're good with it. You do your thing, and we're gonna do our thing.
Yeah. If we didn't get along right now, we'd pack up these mics and be out of here.
You could go. You wait in the car.
We're through.
I'll wait in the bathroom.
So this is so that's why when I did do all the traveling, I knew I wanted to do it here. I said I'm gonna build this here because I know the people there. I didn't feel comfortable with Southern California either. I've been there and it was like, wow, everybody's just missing something.
There's something wrong, but I can't figure it out. And everyone's really nice, so I don't want to think. And the weather's awesome.
I have a term for it.
Yeah.
I call it the California flakiness.
Yeah, it's definitely the flaky term to a lot of the folks out there.
But this is and this has been well received, and I have to say, just seeing, not really any specific age group or person. Everybody seems to like it, but seeing older people get it and younger people, and it just feels really great to me to see them all in the same place listening to Radiohead's new album.
It's funny you mentioned Radiohead. I just read something. They pulled all their stuff off of iTunes apparently.
Yeah.
So is anybody listening to the album?
Well, they I think
Sure.
I think it's $11. They have their own record company that they created, and that's how they're doing it.
So they get to keep all the money.
They keep all the money, and they are actually trying, something new.
That's good though.
Smart.
It is.
Weren't they the ones a few years back? Didn't they release an album and you can pay whatever you wanted for
Yes,
it? And then you could
donation.
donate whatever you wanted, and then you could just download. If you thought the album was worth a penny, then you pay a penny and you download it.
Yep, and that's just such an awesome, cool thing to do. You
Yeah.
know, that's a creative way of I guess they figured out by getting the royalties from some of the major brands of 0.005%. Like, you know what? Let's do it ourselves.
This isn't worth it. Like you hear a lot in the record in the record industry now that a lot of these bands are getting paid like literally like pennies on the dollar for the downloads.
Yes.
And the streaming sites as well are really taking advantage of them.
100%.
Well, I read something the other day actually that a lot of the major record companies are now like buying into these streaming services.
Yeah, so they own them all like through the back door.
Yeah.
The artists don't make nothing. Like they had it figured out. Where like the number one downloaded song on iTunes or whatever, it was maybe 30,000 downloads or something like that in a month, and the artist got paid like $2,500 or something like that.
Wow. That's right.
Like where does all that money go?
You can't even pay your rent on a 2-bedroom apartment. It's crazy. But so that whole industry's changing, and we're in a definitely a cool time. It's an unsure time, but it's
turbulent, but bright future.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that things as a whole, as far as like the food industry, it seems like as a consumer, things are looking up because now we have choices. And 10 years ago, maybe there would be like 1 or 2 restaurants on the island where you could get organically grown food or like free range beef or something along those lines. And now it seems like, there's not a lot, but they are available if you look for them.
Of course.
It's growing. Yeah, it's definitely growing, and I think a lot of that. It's weird because we were just talking about the streaming services and the artists and all that. The internet has, I think, been pretty instrumental in a lot of that. There's like a lot more awareness out there, so it's getting higher in demand. People that want that stuff.
Yeah.
And the more informed people get, I think the more they're going to have that demand for it.
Absolutely.
And it's changing a lot of things. We actually had a friend of mine on as a guest recently. He moved up to Vermont, and he works in a restaurant that bought a farm.
Nice.
And it's like 6 miles down the road from where they are, and they're using the farm to source everything.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Farm to table, and I feel like that's going to be a growing thing.
It is. 100%. Yeah. There's I just found out one of my food runners, Nick Nagaki's family has a 100-year farm in Miller Place, Nagaki Farms, and I went out to it and spoke to his his family, and hopefully we're going to grow some of our own stuff too.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, so it's just
That's
such a great thing. And even on Long Island with the price of property, and people still have these small farms, and to be able to support it and take advantage of it. I'm happy now that I have a restaurant big enough where I can do that,
right?
And say, give me a little tomato section. I'm going to go through a ton of these. So and even like some of the farms on out east too. I think get back to that small, organic farms. I feel like there's going to be a trend coming where we're starting to see a little bit more of those, not the
factory farms.
Not the factory farms, like craziness.
Yeah. And I think you can, like I said, you can tell when you taste it. And I bet you if you asked most of your customers if they didn't know, they wouldn't be shocked that it was organic. And I think that's part of the appeal. There's a lot more informed people that's what they're looking for. I think anyway. I could be talking out of turn.
No, they are. They definitely are. And you can see it. And even with the eggs, the egg yolks are a different color. They're brighter. They're a little more orange. Mm-hmm. So like things like that. I could hear it on tables. Like, ooh, these eggs are really good. Like, where'd you get these? So it's just that little difference. Hopefully, we'll make. They trust us. They know that we're looking out to get the best quality stuff. So, so it's good.
With the eggs, you can definitely tell the difference.
You can.
I grew up on a small farm, mainly growing food for ourselves and having animals for ourselves. And you go to a place like a diner and you get eggs, and it looks like an egg. But when you crack open that yolk, it looks different, it smells different, and it tastes different. I feel better. I still go back. I got a dozen eggs from my mom today, and I'll go. I'm like, I'm running a little bit low this week. Stop giving them all to your friends. I need those for Denise and I and the baby. We need those.
Those are family eggs.
I want those good yolks.
Chris and I are roommates, and we're gonna get chickens.
Oh, awesome!
We're gonna build the coop.
Yeah,
we're gonna get chickens for that exact reason. And just last week, I was out in the back digging up for
Chase and I setting up a garden in the back. So
Oh, very cool.
yeah.
That's such a
If you
great
want a
thing.
tomato row, we
Yes,
got you.
man.
Right in the patch it's local.
It'll only get you halfway through one breakfast.
Yeah.
One seating.
You can just cook for yourself.
those are real special tomatoes, not for everyone else.
You're one of those things for 4 months. And it's like, no. But that's, yeah, absolutely.
Our farm won't be operational for a little while. A suburban farm.
See, I would like to do something on the roof. Wouldn't that be cool?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I've seen some places like that in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big thing.
Yeah.
Just small garden, usually a lot of fresh herbs, things like that.
Yeah, just to get a little, yeah.
There's some pretty cool systems they manufacture for that now. There's a guy, I live in Yaphank, so I have all farms on the road that I live on, and there's an Asian man that owns a farm, and he has a system that it's essentially these tubs that you can set up, so it's designed for rooftops or people that have like a patio or a deck. And then you plug the hose in one end, and the water filters down through like a tiered system, so it'll water the entire garden. All you have to do is turn the hose on for however many minutes it takes for the water to flow through.
Yeah.
And you can even set them up on timers and stuff like that to make it
that's
real
great.
simple.
Yeah, see, the technology these days, it's amazing. And what a great thing. I was just trying to picture my chefs running out of the building and trying to climb up the stairs in a rush. And
We need more tomatoes. It's busy today.
Would that be something that you could even do, or is that like you have
No.
to jump through hoops to do it in like through town? Or?
You could do it. It's it's definitely, you'd have to talk to the landlord and definitely tell the town that you'd like to do it. But again, with the technology these days, there's systems that you can put in place that really aren't going to create anything.
Any headaches for anyone around you.
No. And it's all natural. So
That'd be super.
yeah, wouldn't that be great? I know.
Yeah.
So that's in the 5-year plan.
Right.
Nice.
So I have a question.
Sure.
That because I'm a huge coffee junkie.
Yeah.
I'm like coffee freak,
Nice.
and you guys have some really good coffee.
Yeah,
So, like you said, your whole inspiration was the coffee house.
yeah.
Did you get into
Yeah.
like the whole coffee scene and
Sure.
like is that why you have such a coffee? Like are you like instrumental in picking out the flavors and stuff?
Yeah,
like that?
well, this was this. I tried a ton of coffee, and this roaster is out of Brooklyn, Stone Street, and this little boutique roaster that ended up expanding really had the best variety that I've tried. Coffee is one of those things that it's hard to sample more than 3 because they all end up blending the
Yeah.
same. Like they.
Your palate kind of.
Your palate just
you're like,
it's hard. Yeah. So, but for me, I was looking for a small batch roaster, and when you're tasting coffee, had this special room, and we had a few different styles of how to make the coffee. There's the French presses, and there's drips, and now they're doing pour overs. But these guys just, again, especially when you're creating a restaurant, you do want to create things that you like, but you also have to understand that not everybody's going to appreciate dark roasted coffee, so you have to find that happy ground. But this was a Danish breakfast that I tried it, and then I think it was my first coffee that I tasted, and then tried 7 or 8 different varieties after that, and again they kind of blended together, but I kept thinking about that first cup, and I said, I don't know if if I'm crazy or if that was just something because it was the first time, but I even tried a couple of different roasters after that, but I kept thinking about that first cup, and it just stuck with me. So that was I called them up, and then I had ordered a bunch of that, and I tested it out on the customer base because I did switch my coffee over the years. I had a Colombian Supremo, which was kind of generic, and it was like the medium roast, but it was for me not doing it. I was like, there's better coffee out there, so I went on that hunt. And when I found this Danish breakfast and I introduced it to the customers, I remember there being, it's funny because I'm just watching people's reactions when they're drinking the coffee, and you can see people like, oh, you changed your coffee, this is good, and slowly but surely I was, you're building, like anything, you're building that expectation, and from then on, it was like, this is the best coffee. Because Starbucks was really hitting hard, and everybody was loving the sugary drinks and the coffees, but they're not really known for their regular coffee. I hate to say that I hope I don't get sued, but
I don't think we got that kind of listener base yet.
but
I'll say the regular coffee's good.
The regular coffee is just like, I've had it, and it's like, it's uneventful. But this coffee is, is for me, it's full bodied, and you just get like that burst of, it's like, good morning.
The cinnamon hazelnut is my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Fuck Starbucks.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan at all. I can't stand Starbucks. It's funny because I've become kind of almost a coffee snob at this point.
Oh no, you're a huge coffee snob. I don't even know anyone that likes coffee even 10% of how much you like coffee.
It's a big thing to me.
Every single day it comes up in our regular conversation.
Right?
Every day.
Well, listen, I think for a couple reasons. I like the way coffee tastes, and then coffee to me is like this podcast. You sit around, you have a cup of coffee, and you have some good conversations. That's like, it's paramount to me. I love that shit, so I could do that forever. And if the coffee's really good, even better.
Yes.
But my evolution into the coffee snob that I am has been because I try to eat healthy and be a little bit more health conscious. So I started out just kind of drinking 7-Eleven coffee and putting the creamers in it, and now I've quit all the creamers. And when I quit the creamers now, it's like, wow, you're really tasting the coffee.
Taste the coffee.
Yes.
Now.
Now it's like, I can't drink anything that's not good coffee because you can't cover that up with the garbage creamers and all that. So it's really turned me into a coffee snob.
But it's
Even
amazing.
my boss makes fun of me about it. He's like, oh, you going to the snobby coffee? He's like, whatever. I'll stick to 7-Eleven. I'm like, all right, knock yourself out. I got to go get coffee that tastes good because and I cut sugar out. So I'm not even putting raw sugar in anymore. So it's like,
the purest. And then you go no milk, and you're just black.
I don't know if I'm ever going to do that. I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Yeah,
I've been doing just half and half now. Okay. And and that's when I go out and get coffees and stuff like that. But I do a lot of the bulletproof coffee. I don't know if ever you've talked with Andre about it.
Yes.
Andre does it too.
Yeah.
So I got Chris doing it too. Yeah, the bulletproof coffee. Yeah. So that's the butters, the MCT oils, and all that stuff. But if I'm not at home, if I can't be snobby at home.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I had to ask about the coffee.
Yeah, I'll take you to the tasting next time I go, man. I guess you'll have a field day in there. And they roast, a lot of these, like the cinnamon hazelnut, it's roasted in there, so that's what makes a difference. A lot of
it's not an added flavor.
It's not added flavor. Yeah, a lot of, they
right
have perfume, like almost perfume stuff that they spray on these things, and they're roasting it together, and that was really the selling point for me. Was just
that's cool.
It's a real process. Because now, with the technology, they can make things velvety and smooth by adding chemicals to the beans, and just stay far away from that stuff and just try to keep it, real deal. So
you can taste it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Awesome.
So
I could drink the cinnamon hazelnut all day long.
Yeah.
I tried a couple of the other ones and I like them, but I always go back to the cinnamon hazelnut. It's
the one.
like, oh man. And Andre's the one who put me onto it before, because Andre was frequenting the Port Jeff store all the time.
Yep.
And me and Andre would always meet up and hang out and sit down and eat and catch up. We would do it at the Port Jeff place all the time. And he knew I was turning into the coffee snob. He's like, you got to have the cinnamon hazelnut. And that's how I got onto it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. It's fucking delicious.
That's awesome. So So now with the new season, we're getting ready to open up the outside and contemplating doing something at night. Also, we're thinking about doing a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. We do fondue and tapas in Port Jeff. I don't know if you knew that. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Some cheese and chocolate. And I wasn't sure I wanted to jump necessarily into that here. I wanted to feel what the town was missing.
Vibe,
what the vibe was, and what people are looking for. And so with the Alive at 5s coming up and all the activity of the summer, it might just be a short thing, but it might be nice for the cooks to change the pace up a little bit and to get into some dinner stuff a little bit. We'll see.
Well, let us know if you need some security.
Yeah,
that's right.
Do a lot of that.
Perfect. Yeah.
But we were just discussing the outside and how it's going to be a home run for you guys. It's such a good space, and once the weather gets warm and open it up out there,
it's never had anything like like this. So I'm really excited just to see what it's like to to have that. going.
Are you going to get any like art pieces out there too at all? Or?
Yeah, we have an art show this Sunday actually out there.
Oh,
yeah, so they're going to do art and poetry and music for a Arts on Terry Fair, it's called, which is from the art space in the back.
Okay.
Right in.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're doing this big event, and I'm using that as sort of the kickoff for us to
Awesome.
get the outside going. But yeah, so I think doing some art out there would be awesome. I have a couple guys that want to do some murals, some permanent stuff. I have to get permission for.
Yeah.
I do share the space with the library, so
Okay.
you know, I have to talk to them about will I let me put a giant octopus on the wall because I really think it needs one.
It'll hold a book. Just have it hold the book.
They have books
Yeah.
on octopuses. They
Yeah.
can, it's fun.
So yeah, so it's gonna be exciting.
That's cool.
And those doors actually open up all the way, so we can.
You'll be able to walk right
yeah,
out.
you can walk right out and create the inside-outside space. So yeah,
It seems like it's a really great space because it's covered on three sides and protected in case it would be like a little bit windy, because it does get windy down here if you get caught in like the corridor or if you're walking down Main Street.
yeah.
And your space, it seems like, oh, it's going to be windy, but it'll be tranquil at Toast out in the courtyard.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And
That sounds like a good catchphrase. You could call it a tranquil toast.
There you go. It's a special area.
the tranquility
We'll have some fun.
patio,
We'll have
yes.
some fondue.
That's right.
I can't picture you eating fondue. I have a hard time seeing you eating fondue. I don't know why. It doesn't sit well with me. I feel like you eating fondue would make me nervous.
He's just getting me into coffee. So I'm 33 years old, and I never had like a cup of coffee until about maybe a month ago.
No kidding.
And I had my first cup across the street,
Okay.
and then my second cup I had here.
No kidding. Awesome.
No, you went big. You got a cappuccino.
Oh, I got a
Oh, yeah.
cappuccino. That's what I got. I have a picture of it on my cell phone. I was like, oh, this is impressive looking. I'm gonna document this.
Nice.
we came here, I guess, maybe a month ago when that happened. We sat down. I'm like, all right, I'm getting my coffee. And he's like, yours is cappuccino. I'm like, who are you?
Who is this guy?
I'm giving it a whirl.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, we
And
actually.
it was good. It was delicious. It had some coconut in it. It was awesome.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, it's,
We had my friend Joe is a barista over there at Roast, so
oh, okay.
he had come on the podcast, and so when he found out that Eric had never had coffee, he's like, I have to make you a cup of coffee.
Yes.
So we dragged Eric in.
Oh, that's awesome.
and popped his coffee cherry.
Yes. that's awesome. They do a great job over there.
Yeah, it's funny because you guys, I feel like you guys must hear it all the time, right? Oh, roast toast.
Yeah, yeah. That was a little bit of a thing that we had to clear up in the beginning because it ended up Tiffany from the manager of Roast came to Port Jeff when there was even the whisper of me coming down here and just introduced herself and said, hey, we'd love to have you, and I love this place, and
Yeah.
just really gave me a warm welcome because when I did look at the space, of course, I was like, oh, there's
Yeah.
Roast across the
Yeah,
street.
yeah.
How do I do this? And of course, them being the landmark that they are, you had a lot of people coming in and wondering what the deal was, and you must be so upset, and how did the town allow this? And she kept telling people that no, it's different. They're not really, they're a coffee house, but it's a sit down breakfast restaurant. Like it's okay, we're fine.
Yeah. She wrote something. Did she write
Yes.
like an op-ed in the Greater Patchogue?
In the Greater
thing? Yeah, I
Patchogue,
read
and
it.
that was
It was great.
awesome, right? I know. I mean, it was, and I think it needed to be written, and I wasn't really sure how to go about it, not being from here, and I was like, well, when they come in and they'll know that we're not
It's not
competitors.
safe, yeah.
We're not hurting each other, or, I'm not going to hurt them. In fact, and I told her this, that the Starbucks in Port Jeff does really well because people are waiting for breakfast and they go for a walk, and we take their name and we call them when the table's ready,
Yeah.
and they always come back with the Starbucks cups, and we laugh about it. But let me get you a real coffee.
Finish that up, and when you're ready for the real
The
deal.
garbage can is by the door. I'll make you something real good.
I'm going to get in trouble for this podcast. Starbucks, I know. But Roast, when I built this place on their honeysuckle lattes because I was there pretty much every day, just like, this is so delicious. I promise I'll never put this on the menu, but I want to so bad.
I'll be honest with you, I've been guilty of coming here.
Yeah.
We'll put our name down. We'll wait. I'll go across the street. I'll get a coffee.
Yeah.
I'll come in here. I'll finish my coffee from there, and then I'll order the cinnamon hazelnut right after this. I'll be like, all right, this will be my second cup.
Yeah.
And it's win-win for me.
Yeah, and that's great. And you know, they're awesome over there, and I'm happy that people do, you know, like both places and go to both places. And
Yeah, it definitely hasn't hurt them in the slightest bit, or you.
Yeah,
So.
they've been great. And even the restaurants across the street, you know, they usually weren't busy on Sundays, and people that don't have time, or they're trying to come in here or go in there, and they're like, oh my God, I put 3 servers on Sunday because we're taking your overflow. And I was like, awesome, that's great, good for you
awesome.
guys, you know. Yeah. So and that's really what my philosophy about business has always been, is that if you create, you know, if you support each other and everybody does well, you know, if you want to create good food, and there's awesome restaurants around here, and you know, I don't expect everybody to eat here every day, and I don't want to be the only place that has breakfast. It's going to be a choice, and you just hope that, you know, it keeps everybody on their games and making good food. So yeah, so far it's been great, well received, you know, opening 4 months in. And
Have you noticed at all that the new store has helped the first store too? Have you got, like, because I don't know if it's just because we're in this town, obviously, so we hear about it a lot more, but I feel like there's been a pretty big buzz about it.
Yeah.
So are people maybe who aren't around here, oh my God, this place toast, and they find out there's one close by? Is it like boosting up over there?
yeah, it did. Yeah, it definitely did initially. And I think it was just the collective buzz that people were talking about it. So you know, brought more business into Port Jeff and reminded people that maybe stopped coming for whatever reason, like, oh yeah, let's try it again. And then, you know, I was afraid of that a little bit, opening up the second store. Would I pull that whole, would I pull away from the other side? But I haven't noticed it yet, so hoping it stays that way. And you know,
There's plenty of people on Long Island.
there's a ton.
There's so
There
many
is.
people
There's so
here.
many.
The South Shore is full. And just from like my standpoint, I'm a little bit out east, and for me to go on a Sunday up to Port Jefferson, especially with traffic, I mean, it's a half-hour ride sometimes up Route 112.
Sure. Oh, I know.
But here it takes me about 8 minutes to get to Patchogue.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you've timed it too.
Oh, definitely. You know, I'm always a little bit late, so I know exactly how many lights I have to hit
to get there.
But whereas I'd go up to Toast maybe several times a year, a half dozen times a year in Port Jeff when I happen to be in the area, or if it's like a special Sunday, let's go get breakfast.
Right.
Now it's almost like you wake up in the morning, what do you feel like doing? I don't feel like cooking anything. Let's go to Toast. Oh yeah, let's just head down there.
Mom didn't have any eggs. So.
Yeah, Mom didn't have any eggs.
You gotta go to Toast to get them good eggs.
She gave my eggs to her friend again. Giving the eggs away.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, this is definitely, you know, especially with Sunrise Highway, people travel from, I've noticed people come from Islip, all the way from Manorville. It's easier to get to, and you can hop on in just a short amount of time.
It's a great atmosphere too. Like I have a 10-month-old son, and we can come here and sit down, and it's not the volume. It's not loud in here, but there's enough noise going on that you don't feel uncomfortable bringing like your child here.
I feel uncomfortable when you bring him because I lose the staring contest every time with your son. So I feel uncomfortable because his son will sit across from me and just do this.
He won't blink. He won't blink. He's got everybody.
So it makes me uncomfortable.
That's awesome. I gotta try it. Next time he comes in.
He goes like this.
Boom.
That's it. Just won't blink. He was having to stare down with my grandfather today in Lindenhurst, and he's just sitting there like this. I'm like, oh, what's he doing? It's like he thinks that you challenge him to a staring contest. He's never been beaten.
He did it. We sat on one of these tables. He did it to me the first time, and then one weekend we came here, and Eric sat here with his friends and family, and I was sitting over there, literally in these sections, and they had his son in the high chair, and his son turned around and did it to me again. Turn around, I'm like,
Different table.
this is not even a joke anymore. He really is
challenging.
He really is challenging. He, like from across the way, it was just
He's asserting his dominance.
yeah. I'm like, man, I got his first high five, and now he's like resenting me for it.
He's like, oh, now I have to give high fives out to everyone I meet.
I'm gonna have to have a chat with Matt when it's over.
That's great.
So, my other question for you, that
and I was really interested in this, and I hope you are cool to talk about it. I was told that you were able to get Suffolk Community College to reimburse you.
Oh. Ooh. Yeah, that was one of my probably my first trip, I think. Well, after Alaska, I went back to Suffolk Community, and did I tell that story on the air about the Alaska being my first trip?
Yeah,
I did. Okay,
yeah.
so
You can rehash it, though?
Yeah, I'll rehash it. But
cares?
so after Alaska, I came back and we went to Suffolk, and the guy that I went to Alaska with, my good friend Greg, stayed, and I think I was about a year in. He came back, and we went to plan this whole trip going across the country. Santa Fe, New Mexico was going to be the start, and you're welcome to come. And for me, it was about 2 months into the semester, and I just paid the money and thought about it, and finally I said, you know what, I'm going to go. And I didn't have any money. I didn't have a lot. I was a young kid, and right before I left, I sat down at the desk, and I remember telling my mother I'm trying to get my tuition money back from Suffolk Community College, and she there's no way they're ever going to give you your money back, and so I wrote this heartfelt letter about life being this, my education is going to be on the open road, and I really wish I saved a copy of it because I mailed it in, and I went on my journey. I dropped out of that semester. And then about 2 months into the trip, my mother calls me, and I call home. She's like, "You'll never believe this. Suffolk gave you your money back." Said, "Are you kidding me?" So, kudos to them for recognizing that, this was another path.
That's so cool.
That's
amazing. It really was.
It makes me like Suffolk a little bit more.
Yeah,
too.
Yeah. And I actually, when I was finished with that trip, I came back and finished just because they did that and gave them, gave them their money back. But
and that takes big balls too, that you did it and then still left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Not hinging on, if I get this money back, I'm going to go.
Right. Yeah.
Going anyway.
I was going anyway, and when I got that money, I was like, "Oh, thank God!"
He's telling me that was the coolest trip too.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
It had to have been.
Yeah, I was living in a tent. I got a job at it was a Whole Foods, but it was called Wild Oats in New Mexico, and I started making fresh squeezed juices for everybody, and I was living out of a tent, and I was trying to keep that secret and scouring at the YMCA. And then after about 2 weeks, I was able to find an apartment to rent. But it's amazing. It's where there's a will, there's a way, and you can really I always feel like people feel like they're trapped or they can't change where they are, and just really having the guts to go out there and do it. You can do anything, and I really was able to go to any town and within a couple of days, find a job and figure out where I'm going to live, and just I've done that a few times in my life, and for me, it's like the best safety because I know if I get really stressed out, I can do this at any time. Now I got 3 kids. I don't know. But back then
I don't know if that would fly.
The kids don't travel as well as the culinary skills.
They don't. No.
That tent would get real crowded real quick.
But that's so funny that you brought that up. Nice.
Andre had told me when he first was starting to get to know you, he was like, "This guy is so cool." He told me that, and I was like, "No fucking way."
Yeah.
He's like, "Dude, yes." I'm like, "That's pretty incredible."
Yeah, that was wild, man.
Yeah. That's that. I mean, that. Yeah, like you said, that's really cool that Suffolk honored that.
Yeah.
They really didn't have to. I guess.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That makes me respect Suffolk a little bit more.
It definitely does, and it's something that I never thought that I'm going to write this thing, and it was important to me, and I made it, and I poured my heart into it, and I knew nobody was going to read it. I didn't think they were, I was like, there's no way.
Somebody's going to open it up and chuck it in the waste paper basket.
But,
what's awesome about that though is, and I hate to sound like a broken record, but it's authenticity.
Yeah.
And they recognized it.
Yes.
And like they said, authenticity is one of those things you can always recognize it. You can always feel it. You can always tell when it's the real deal.
Right. 100%. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome. I got another question because we had one of my good friends,
did a cross-country trip. He did
Yeah.
6 weeks cross-country, camped out,
Yeah.
tented it, did the whole thing. When he came back, his perspective and everything has changed.
Yeah.
And another one of Eric's good friends is about to do a very similar thing on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And what I've never done it, so I'm real like the fire's getting stoked. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And how did that change your perspective? Like, I mean, besides the
Yeah.
obvious
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, like, what did that do?
You know, there's something. It's sort of like sitting in your own fire. You know, like you're sitting in your own fear, and that's a tough thing for people to do, because I think that's what I got the most out of. There's always your mom you can call. There's always that safety net. There's always where you're going to stay, and we get comfortable in our routines. I think traveling, you know, is the further you go out, the less security you have, and there's the fear, you know, and that fear defines. It's going to ultimately define who you are. You know, it's that fear of like, okay, can I do this? How many obstacles is it going to take for me to go back? Do I really want to go back?
Do you keep pushing forward?
Keep pushing
or do you,
forward,
yeah.
or is that, you know, calling? I ran out of money. I went without money. I took that right out and was like, I'm gonna let's see if I can do this with nothing, you know. And that was, and then just really, it was survival at that point. Like I had to do it. I didn't. It wasn't like, you know, I did get food stamps. I'm not afraid to say it. I needed it, and I was like, hey, you know, hi, I lost my backpack with money. I really didn't have it, but you know, and this is just things that you had to do. So, you know, I feel like your perspective changes when you don't have anything to rely on, and you're like, okay, can I survive without, you know, my job, my car, or not that I recommend for people to go out there and live that way, because I always, since that whole journey, I've always wanted to go back and do it, you know, with money and be able to stay at hotels and
Take a hot shower every night and sleep in a warm bed.
Exactly. But there's something about, you know, and even doing it, you know, there's many different ways to travel across country, but, you know, I feel like even doing it with money and staying in hotels, like you're gonna open yourself up and just be available, because now your eyes are open and you're gonna meet people and you're gonna talk to people and you're gonna see things, and that is, you know, it's kind of like the universe is gonna, I feel like, show you what you need to see in order to, you know, make you feel more secure. And I think that's the change that people get, is their self-confidence, you know, that changes, and more confident in who they are, or you end up realizing that I'm choosing where I am right now ultimately, and not it's somebody else made me be
Somebody
here.
pushed you that way.
Yeah,
You're not a
so-
victim of circumstances.
Right.
You create.
Like I'm creating this right now. Like if I'm not happy, I'm creating my own happiness, because I can change it. So once you know that you can change it, then, you know, then life happens.
It opens up the doors for you.
Yeah, 100%. So that's what it was for me, and I think I did it at the right age, because I was so full of energy and angst and unsurety, and it was like the perfect combination of, you know, I can totally mess up, and I'll be, you know, my mom will take me home, and I'll be fine. I could you know, work at the Courier Cafe. So, so that was always there.
That's cool. Yeah, it's not even more so now through the theme that keeps recurring with the podcasts we're doing. It keeps coming up, and it's like,
Yeah.
something I feel like maybe we need to do now. And now this just occurred to me literally as I was saying this. Maybe this will be the opportunity that we get. Like, you know, the theme keeps coming up to do, like you said, these remote podcasts.
Yeah.
Maybe shit.
Vermont,
the way it
California.
happens. Yeah.
You know,
It'd be so
that
cool.
would be something, really.
Yeah.
And you know, everybody loves to tell their story, so you
Yeah.
have, you know, and you could have a really great time with that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for telling us yours.
Yes. Well, my pleasure. Thanks for having.
Well, this was like the type of place though where you walk in and the first thing you think is, oh man, who on earth came up with this place? I've got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
He's got to be somebody in my social group. This is something that I would think of if I was like, all right, I'm gonna. It's like you'd brainstorm at night, like while you're in bed, like, oh, if I was gonna do a restaurant, or I worked in the nightclub industry for 10 years, I'd always like think, oh, if I do a nightclub, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
But like if I was doing a restaurant, I look around and I'm like, well, this place is brilliant.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
It's just like every corner you look in, there's like another little niche and some other little feature or some little whatever that stands out to you.
Yeah.
And look at these details. And I love how you covered up the windows with the planks of wood,
Oh, it's
but
not-
there's some holes in them.
Yeah, they're not windows.
Oh, no?
No, we put lights behind them to make them look like
Oh,
windows.
really?
Yeah.
Ah,
Isn't that
Parlor
cool?
tricks.
even cooler.
Right?
Better, yeah.
Even
Yeah.
cooler.
Yeah, I wanted it to feel like, wait, what do you mean you boarded the windows? But yeah, just cool little things.
You know what's I didn't even realize that until you guys just mentioned it.
Yeah.
I just always assumed there was a tremendous glare or something,
Yeah,
and
something-
you didn't want to have curtains and get dusty blinds or something like that. So you're like, oh, we'll board them up, leave some crevices for the light to come through still. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. I feel like between the Tesla patents, and the time machine and the art pieces, I feel like you're dining in half museum, half art show,
Yeah, right on.
and it's awesome.
It's,
Yeah.
it's almost like this place is an experience to come to,
Sure.
except the food is really great as well, which usually you don't get. You don't get the whole picture. You don't get the whole pie. It's usually one or the other. Oh, that place. There's a few restaurants on Long Island that are decorated real well, and you're like, oh, whoever they have that does the interior design did a real good job. And the food's pretty good.
Right.
Service is all right, but this place, the food is fresh,
Yeah.
and the atmosphere is wonderful, and the decor is amazing.
Awesome.
And it makes me like I'm even happier that we did it here now, because I'd always appreciate it, but like I don't think we'd be able to appreciate as much all the things you're telling us without being here
Yeah.
and being able to see it, and also seeing it in the stillness
Yes.
is different.
Sure is.
Because sometimes you get distracted by the people and the movement, but in the stillness of it here, I can
You
appreciate
take it all in.
Yeah,
You're able
you
to-
like really take it in a little bit more, and it makes me a lot more appreciative of the fact that we did it here.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot cooler.
It does, and I'm happy you guys did it this way. I guess this is, it's awesome.
Yeah, I have a new appreciation for it. Honestly, I do. It's very cool.
Right on. Yeah.
Well,
That's
I
fun.
think we'll wrap it up there.
It's
I
about
mean,
to wrap it up, yeah.
Like I said, thank you
Awesome.
for telling us your story. And,
Yeah. Well, thank you
No.
guys. I think this is a great. This is great. I can't wait to check out more of your work.
I think obviously, I think there's still probably a ton more we can talk about. So, anytime you wanna,
Yeah.
you're a friend of the podcast, man. You're a friend of ours. So, anytime you wanna sit down and shoot the shit,
Sure.
you're more than welcome to come back.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
man. Well, thank you.
Come down.
Thank you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No, thank you very
Thank
much.
you guys. Awesome.
You want to plug your Instagram, anything, website, anything like that?
Sure. You can find us at toastcoffeehouse.com. Is our website. We've got Toast Coffee House Instagram for lots of mouth-watering dishes, and and our Facebook page also, Toast Coffee House. Port Jeff and Patchogue.
Right on.
Thanks.